Both. I'm Watanabe Shinji, Kudo Daido Juku Shihan, and Yuigari Karate Renshi. Today's video is a brief summary of the 10-part Naihanchi Analysis series so far, and on the False of Bunkai. Let's get started. Oath. Now, let's briefly review the meaning of each of the Naihanchi actions. For more details, please watch each installment of Naihanchi Analysis again. First, step hard on your heels and stand up straight as if your head is being pulled from up above. This unifies your whole body. The integrated whole body moves with a slight COC shift of the arm, giving you an advantage in the three elements of power, speed, and stamina in fighting. This is the secret of classic Naihanchi. Start carefully with making your posture. Then bow. As the head moves forward, the hips are pulled back to maintain balance of the whole body. This action of lay allows you to understand that the COG of the chest, or shutanden, as expressed in a more Bujutsu-like terminology, is the center of movement and balance. It is necessary to move the COG of the chest in order to move the unified whole body. Lift your arms up and back down while lowering your hips. The hips should be slightly behind you at this point. Do not drop vertically. This posture is the most comfortable form to take on gravity with the skeleton, not with the muscles. The weight of the arms is used to counterbalance the weight of the hips, making it easier to grasp the correct position of the hips. From here, you can look to the right and move. But once you look to the left and then to the right and move, it is easier to get a sense of moving with the vertical line of the COG of the head, the chest, and the whole body aligned to the right. From Kosadachi to Naihanchi and then Haishuke. At this time, do not walk carelessly. Control your own COG and make the movement of Kyojutsu. Generally, it is said that kata begins with uke, so I use the expression haishu-uke. But this movement can be interpreted as haishu-uchi. Interpreted as haishu-uchi, this first movement is the ultimate training to create the longest attacking technique, utilizing centrifugal force and the COG movement. Here is an elbow strike. Do not strike with this arm strongly pulled back. If you pull your arm back strongly, the elbow strike will make a loud sound, but the elbow strike itself will be less power because the COZ movement will not occur. Feel the weight of the arm and strike by pulling the body by the arm. Keep your stance in Naihanchi Dachi, which means knees stretched outward. When the knees comes inward, it is easy to use the rotational force of the hips instead of the force of the COZ movement. Once the moved COZ is back in the center, Gedan Barai and Gyakuzuki, then move. This is a typical movement of Naihanchi. The vertical and horizontal lines of the COZ are connected to make a ball. And by moving this ball, the centrifugal force and the force of the COZ movement are generated. In the classic Naihanchi, the force of COZ movement is the main force. So here it is Gyakuzuki. And this move is also included in the Gyakuzuki action. If you emphasize the centrifugal force instead of the COZ movement, this Tsuki changes Kagizuki. In particular, if you stand with your toes and knees inwards, it is difficult to use the power of COZ movement. Schools that use this style of stance often use Kagizuki instead of Gyakuzuki. And ryote uke. You also need to learn the simultaneous two-handed uke against a simultaneous two-handed attack. Next is uraken. Actually, this is not an uraken, but a training movement to make flexible and strongly elbows necessary for Tsuki. Uchi-uke and soto-uke while doing namigaeshi. By connecting both arms, the arm movement is directly connected to the upper body movement. Therefore, both arms must not be separated. Here, you learn how to use the power of centrifugal force and the COZ movement also through the uke movement. If you consider the application to weapons, you should not twist your forearms during uchi-uke. For namigaeshi, control your own COZ. Pull up your knee without compromising your posture and gently lower it. In other words, it is a kyojitsu movement. The skin of the raised leg is naturally slanted, but there is no need to sweep inward consciously. And ryotezuki. This is not striking with both hands at the same time. This is so-called meotode, a couple's hand, in which the movement of one arm is followed and supported by the movement of the other arm. In karate, the end of one technique is the beginning of the next. Therefore, it is original to make the form of hashiuke as it is. But you can lower your left arm once and do high shuke again. From here, perform a series of actions on the opposite side. By repeating the same movements on the left and right sides and paying attention to the differences. It is easy to notice distortions in your posture and movements. Try to eliminate bad habits as much as possible. Elbow strike, then Yakuzuki, and finally Ryotezuki. Naihanchi is structured as a series of curriculum to gradually lengthen the attack, utilizing the power of centrifugal force and COZ movement. Finally, curve up the COZ outwards and return to a straight standing posture. Then, through an action of leg, check whether you are able to control the COZ in the correct posture. This is the end of Naihanchi kata practice. As you have seen, Naihanchi simply summarizes the essentials necessary for fighting, starting with the correct posture, how to control and move your COZ, how to transmit it to your opponent with centrifugal force, and kyojutsu movements, and so on. This is why it is the basic kata of many of the schools connected to Shurite and Tomarite. And at the same time, it is the ultimate kata, as Motobuchoki said. That is all you need for a kata. How was it? Naihanchi is a kata to learn the essence of fighting, but many karate practitioners misunderstand it to be about learning offensive and defensive techniques, not the essence. Yes, it's so-called bunkai, but it is not a good idea to try to interpret kata, or at least Naihanchi, in terms of bunkai. Here is an example of an attempt to interpret Naihanchi in terms of bunkai.
You are surrounded by enemies in 3 directions, in front of you and to your left and right, and you are preparing for the enemy in front of you. You turn to the left and restrain the enemy on that side. While they are on guard, you move to the right. The enemy attacks as you approach. You block the punch and counterattack with an elbow strike. You turn your head forward once and restrain the enemy in front of you. The enemy on the left attacks you with a front kick. You block it with a gedan barai and counterattack with a tsuki. Now that you have dealt damage to the enemies on the right and left, it is time to deal with the enemy in front of you. Prevent the enemy from grabbing you with jogeuke and counterattack with an uraken. The enemy on the left, who has regained his position, attacks with a tsuki from a foot sweep. You avoid the foot sweep with namigaeshi and prevent the tsuki with uchi-uke. Similarly, the enemy on the right attacks with a tsuki from a foot sweep. You would avoid the foot sweep with namigaeshi and prevent the tsuki with soto-uke. Check the enemy in front and attack the enemy on the left with the ryotezuki.
How about it? I'm sure also you have heard such explanations before. These explanations may sound right, but they are all fakes. There's no truth in them at all. The problem starts with mistaking this fake explanation for the truth. Then, what happens? First, the essence of the kata changes. Naihanchi, which was originally created to learn the essence of karate, or the essentials of fighting, is now interpreted as a kata for fighting when surrounded by many people while protecting your back against a wall, or a kata for fighting on a narrow bridge, and so on. Many of you may have actually heard this explanation before, but it is ridiculous. I started karate more than 40 years ago, and in those 40 years, I have never heard of anyone saying, I got into a street fight with 3 guys, but I was safe because I had practiced Naihanchi. Conversely, there are many people who have won street fights against 3 opponents without knowing Naihanchi. In other words, there is no point in practicing Naihanchi for such a thing. As a result, Naihanchi is neglected, and other kata are practiced, which move much bigger and flashier, especially for competitions. Also, each movement would be modified more and more as being irrational. For example, this was interpreted as a move to defend the opponent's tsuki and counter-attack with an elbow strike. But it is difficult to defend. So let's change the movement like this. This is more reasonable to defend a tsuki. Or you attack the opponent who grabs you with uraken. But this cannot give enough damage to the opponent. So let's change it like this. No, still not powerful enough. So change it like this. Or you avoid a foot sweep by namigaeshi and defend a tsuki. But if you turn the other way, you will be beaten by this opponent. Therefore, you must attack, not defend. Then let's change it like this. See, in this way, the kata is being modified more and more. Therefore, as I have said many times, it is not a good idea to try to interpret Naihanchi in Bunkai. You should also think carefully again about the meaning behind each action. I hope the videos in the Naihanchi Analysis series will be useful as one of the reference materials for that purpose. So, how did you like this video? If you find it informative or interesting, please like it. Comments are also welcome. Now for the next video, true bunkai, incorrect bunkai. I have said many times before, not only in this video, but also in the past, it is not a good idea to try to interpret kata, especially Naihanchi, in terms of bunkai. But on the other hand, there are kata that should be interpreted in bunkai. And in those bunkai, there are true one and incorrect one. True bunkai is the bunkai as intended by the creator of the kata. Incorrect bunkai are those created by later generations who misunderstood the meaning of each movement of the kata and created them on their own. In recent years, or perhaps it has been for a long time, There are many senseis who present their own creative kata bunkai, thinking that it is up to each karate practitioner to interpret and apply the kata movements in any way. But in my opinion, that is outrageous. I think it is a blasphemy against the predecessors who created the kata. It's something you can understand if you think about it a little. For example, let's say you are trying to create a kata. Would you create that kata by randomly combining movements without any deep thoughts? Do you seriously believe that the kata created in such a way will endure through the ages and be passed down to the future generations? You wouldn't even consider that. I want to preserve as a kata the essence of my own secret techniques, which I have learned, refined, and mastered through my efforts. If you think so, you would carefully select and combine each movement to create the kata. You would clarify the meaning of each movement, thinking, I want people to learn this through this movement, and create the kata accordingly. However, what would you say if your students independently interpreted the meaning of each movement, leading to the spread of bunkai based on incorrect interpretations? Your creative thinking is wonderful. Keep going. Would you say so? You would never say such a thing. You would say, I did not create this kata for that purpose. To return to the topic, when it comes to bunkai of a kata, there clearly exist true bunkai, which are the applications intended by the creator of the kata, and incorrect bunkai, which are misunderstandings or personal creations by later generations. The important thing is that as long as you try to interpret a kata through incorrect bunkai, kata practice will not function as effective training for actual fighting. Furthermore, even if you learn the true bunkai, you cannot immediately apply it in an actual fighting situation. To make it useful, you need to meet certain conditions. What exactly are those conditions? Next time, using pin and shodan, hair nidan in the Shotokan style, as a subject, I will explain the incorrect bunkai and the true bunkai, and the three conditions necessary to make the true bunkai effective in actual fighting. Stay tuned. Oath.